number 2 is you want to identify. Okay? So what does that mean? Well, you got to ask the right questions. People create surveys, quizzes, assessments, and they're just throwing down any questions they want. It doesn't make sense. Every question that you ask in your survey has to play a role. If you're not going to do something with that data, you do not want to answer that question, okay? Because you're going to have a higher risk of somebody dropping off, right? So typically you want to ask, I'd say anywhere from 4 to 8 questions, give or take, right? You want to get enough data that you can learn something about them. And you also want to have enough data that when you give them the results, that it's believable, right? You ask them one question and then start telling them things and take them down this path, it's not going to work. You could do it for a lead magnet. If you're looking to collect an email address, you could ask one question. There's a strategy that I use for that, but not in this instance, okay? But the whole idea is you want to ask the right questions, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to understand the people coming through your survey answering questions. You're asking very specific questions. We do it in a lot of ways, right? You do it with, you want to learn who they are, where they are, what they think, what are they doing, okay? There's a lot of different ways. I have other trainings on this. It's all around demographics, geographics, psychographics, and behavioral, okay? If you're in a firm, it's firmographics, same as demo, right? But those are the types of questions you're going to be asking, right? And it's going to be all based on what is it that you want to happen at the end of this survey. You need to have a survey goal in the beginning because you're going to work backwards, okay? But it's really important that you start and ask the right questions because you want to identify. And what are you identifying? Which is one of the most important things, and the core value to everything that we're doing here is segment. What does segment mean? It means you are going to group people by similar characteristics, okay? You don't want to have a marketing program where you're just talking to the world and have a mass marketing campaign that doesn't solve somebody's problem, right? You're not speaking to them. You're not relating to them. You need to do it in a way where you have to understand who is your audience. And then what you want to do is you want to segment the audience by similar characteristics. So typically you'll have anywhere from like 3 to 5 segments. People do it wrong. There are wrong ways to segment your data. I have some rules that you could follow to create the right segments, which we can get into in another video. But for now, most importantly, you want to have them be polarizing. And what that means is you just want to make sure that when you're asking questions, the person can only fit in one of the segments that you create. So if you have 4 segments, you should only be able to fit in one. If you're able to fit in 2 or 3, then the back end of this survey of how you're going to start to nurture and get these people from taking the survey to potentially buying your product or doing whatever your survey goal is going to be ineffective, right? Because the whole point here is that when you segment, you're then going to targeting. You are going to create custom targeted messages to each of your segments, right? You're going to listen to them. You're going to start to understand who they are. You know who your segments are. So now you're learning what their challenges are, what their objections are about your product or service. And when you do, you want to speak directly to those people. You don't want to talk to somebody who, let's say, is buying a mattress and they're struggling with sleeping because their bed is too soft. Well, you don't want to talk to them about how soft your mattresses are because this person hates that it's soft, right? You want to understand what their issue is, and then you want to try to customize the messaging to fit their needs.